Good morning. We are at Lake Eureka for the award ceremony for the 2021 Discraft Ledgestone Insurance Open. I am here with our two winners, Calvin Heimburg and Ricky Wysocki. This is not the ending that we wanted, but we do have two great champions here. Thank you to everybody for coming out to Eureka yesterday. Thank you to all the sponsors, to Discraft and Grip. Thank you to all of the players for being patient with us as we tried to make things work yesterday. We are going to make things even bigger and better next year. We are thrilled to have these two great champions here with this check and this trophy.
Alrighty, Calvin, first question I think on a lot of folks' mind. What was going through your mind when the stoppage happened? I know there were some rumblings in the crew, but did the players know what happened? And what was that timeline like?
At first I was just kind of chilling in the park. Skies were blue, nothing. It just seemed like it would be like a 30-minute delay. It wasn't until, I don't know, I was sitting there for a while. The Jomez guys came over and they started packing their stuff up because they saw the second band coming through, and it was actually the first one that ended up hitting us as well. But it was just kind of a slow progression. Eventually the storms rolled in, lightning was coming down on the course, and everyone left. So it was just a very slow progression. But
yeah, everybody was expecting a lot of fireworks on the round. Three people within a stroke, a couple of guys on the end of chase, or end of lead and some on chase. But the pace of play was a little slow and a little, lackluster for the first three holes. How do you feel now, a day after it getting canceled? Do you feel like happy that it got canceled, like you're in a position now? How do you feel?
I don't think anyone wants the tournament to end early. Everyone wants to see how it plays out through the final 18 holes. I mean, we were through 3 holes. Anything can happen in 15. That's the majority of the round still left. It was windy. Anything can happen on any of these holes. Lots of OB, so plenty of birdies and bogeys to be had. So it's hard to say or really know what would have happened.
Looking into the future, how do you feel like you'll reflect on this tournament win? Is it going to go down, like, talking later, are you going to say that you're the Ledgestone champion from 2021, or are you going to kind of move past and focus on the ones that you're the sole champion of?
I don't know. I guess we'll evaluate that in the future. I mean, I am the co-champion, I guess, of this event, so I'm at least partially the champion. Does it feel as good as, the solo victories? No, but I still did come out on top of this event.
Looking forward into Idlewild now, maybe quite the opposite type of play out here at Eureka. Do you go into that like with any extra rest? Do you feel like, I don't know, maybe an extra round would have taken it out of you? This is like the most grinding stretch on tour, and now we're down 1 round. Do you feel like maybe a little extra restful? How do you feel going into Idlewild?
I don't think I feel more or less rested because of this 1 round. Idlewild's 1 course as opposed to this being 2, so we had plenty of time to kind of rest and get in our practice. That course is pretty much the same as it's been for years. So Idlewild's a little bit slower of a week than this because we had to come and learn a new course. But yeah, I think the final round being played or not played wouldn't affect me for the next week.
Cool. Well, any shout outs you want to say? Any thanks to anyone involved with the tournament? Anything like that?
Yeah, thank you for the tournament staff for putting the event on. It was a great event and well run as always. And I got to thank my sponsors, Innova Champion Discs, Millennium Disc Golf Grip Equipment, and Wysocki. So, and also Anita for hosting a bunch of people this week.
Cool. Thanks, your co-champion, Calvin. Now on to Ricky. You're holding the chalice while Calvin is holding the check. Who's going home with which piece of hardware after this?
Actually, I think we talked about that. I think we're going to be playing off in Idlewild for the trophy. So it's kind of be looking out for the battle. Me and Calvin agreed to the fact that whoever beats who at Idlewild is going to get the trophy. And so that's kind of a fun little battle for us next week. We'll see who can come out on top and get the trophy.
Perfect. Speaking of playoffs, I know there was, a lot of thought going into what we were going to do, whether it was last night, this morning, coming back sudden death playoff. Could you talk about the experience after the round was canceled yesterday? Did you talk to Calvin at all? Were you in communication with the Pro Tour? How did that play out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of was a weird feeling. You didn't know whether you were coming back or whether you weren't. And so I just kind of tried to stay in tournament mode and stay ready for whatever was going to happen. And so, yeah, we kind of talked to Calvin, talked to Jeff a little bit, and we all kind of just came to grips with that's, what I felt best with doing. I mean, I think I felt unfair playing off and not allowing the other rest of the field to be able to play. So yeah, there was a lot of emotions going through my head, but that was kind of the main gist of it. But at the same time, I've been on the opposite end of this, where I've been one stroke back at the USDGC, and that's when Jerem won, and then rightful winner, he won the tournament. He was ahead at the right time, and he ended up winning. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to cancellations early. So, and this round was early, but at the same time, we've still played 3 rounds, and we still had a big chance to rise to the top. It wasn't like we only had 2 rounds to play. We had a 3 rounds, which is normally the full length of a tournament.
Yeah, no question. You always have a lot of support on tour. It seems like you have some of the loudest cheers and most group of people actively rooting for you of any player on tour. But more importantly, you've got these 2 behind me who are maybe the loudest of anyone ever on tour. What's it like having Ari back and the whole crew, supporting? Because they came back for the final round.
Yeah, she was here. She was ready to clap and cheer. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to do it for an entire round, so that's kind of a bummer. But it's great having a support system. Obviously, we have big galleries. Nate's grown this event immensely with the hype. People want to be out here. They want to be supporting what Nate's doing with charity and all the stuff that he's doing for the sport. So I think it's a combination of Nate doing his work, the players growing the sport, Jeff and the Pro Tour. So everything's coming together, and this event is showcasing the growth of the sport in such a great light. And I'm just glad to be on the forefront of it and be an ambassador for the sport, playing at the level that I am.
Yeah, and we appreciate it too, all the hard work it plays, and you put on great shows, week after week. So anything you want to say in summation, any thanks, any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to thank Nate. A lot of people thank Nate, but he's doing stuff for the sport. He's doing the stuff for charity. He's doing amazing things. I want to thank Jeff. They all made the right decision, I think. Once everyone saw, I don't know if you saw the post with the lightning strike on one of the holes. I think 2 of the holes got actually struck by lightning. So it's always easy to cancel something. It's not easy to cancel something, but once you see that, I'm sure they had satisfaction that they made the right decision. So thanks for the Pro Tour for keeping us safe. And yeah, just got to thank my sponsors, Innova, Give Go, Ridge Roller, and a couple more I'm forgetting, but those are the main ones. Thank you. Thanks for all them for their support.
All right, now moving on to Nate.
Yeah.
The obvious question, Ricky just mentioned it. Madison Walker's Instagram story, she posted the picture with the lightning striking here. It was a tough decision in the moment. There was a lot of hecticness going on. You guys went back to the Majestic for a private meeting to see how you were going to figure it out. But a day later, how do you feel about the decision?
Obviously, it was the right decision to, stop play when we did. I mean, obviously, I was, incredibly sad and disappointed. I had some people messaging me saying, come back for a playoff, and why don't you want to do that? And it was like, that was what I wanted to do. We wanted to make it work. I mean, we were desperately trying, and so people were saying, oh, they're Innova players, so you didn't care as much about them. And it made me sick to my stomach when I had those text messages, because I like both of these guys. I like anybody on tour. And so that was really hard to see those messages, because I more than anybody else wanted to make it work, and it just wasn't going to work. And that's just the reality. So it was very disappointing to see the end come the way that it did. But the bottom line is we have 2 great champions who, Ricky said they played 3 rounds. It's more like 5 rounds, because the black course is like 2 courses in itself. So.
Yeah, no question there. I think something that's important to remember is that there's over 1,700 players in total playing this event, right? A lot of the focus, a lot of the shine is on the MPO division, rightfully so. But basically everyone got their tournament finished, except for the most part 1 division. What was it like, I guess, doing the entire tournament? Because you didn't just do MPO, you did all divisions.
Yeah, we actually had 3 divisions not finish, and so we had a very similar situation with MA2. A guy was leading by several strokes, and they had 3 groups left, and we had to revert back to 13 holes, and he lost. So, and so that's tough, but it's the rules. There's really no way, there's no better way to do it than what was done, and so we had to revert back to 3 rounds here, and for them, we had to revert back to 2 rounds and 13 holes. So it was very challenging last night with, obviously dealing with what was here, but 11 more courses. At one point in time, I think I had 11 phone calls coming in at the same time. And obviously, I don't have the ability to listen to 11 phone calls. And so I put the phone down at some point in time and was just talking to Jeff, to be honest. So, or crying, who knows? So what it was. So, so it was, I'm not disappointed in the event. I'm very proud of the staff and the team. We've worked at this event for the last year, and I can very much say that I don't think anybody works harder than we do to make their event happen. I mean, I literally spend, and the staff spends, thousands of hours. Right now we have 50 people behind us cleaning up the course, including the football team, and so we're very proud of what we did, and very happy to have two great champions who I greatly admire.
Yeah, and really last question I have is touching on that last topic. You've got a legion of volunteers, but even more impressive is the core staff that are beyond volunteers. They actually are a professional staff of event producers, right, of running events. Talk a little bit about forming that team and what it means to run an event with such a polished staff.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that several years ago I started posting on Facebook saying, now hiring, come help for a week, and now it's been come help for 2 weeks, and go work a weed trimmer, and go cut down trees even though you're not qualified. Whatever it is, they're a great team. We have the chair of the rules committee. I have the state coordinator from Mississippi. I have other members of the rules committee on the team, and I have team members that, from other states. And so it really is a very comprehensive team that we try not to miss anything. We try to get it all right. And I can promise you now, I was up all night last night working on how do I make it better for next year. I already have the list, and so we're going to make it better, and we're going to keep pushing it forward.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate all your hard work, Nate, and the work of all the volunteers and staff that aren't on camera right now. I think that's all we have for the interviews. Again, congrats to the 2 co-champions, and appreciate your work, Nate.
Thank you.
Alrighty, here with Jeff Spring, CEO and DGPT Tour Director. Bit of an odd day yesterday, a lot of hectic things. I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of tell your story and explain to the folks at home, the results and how it all went down.
Yeah, it was honestly a gut-wrenching final day here. What an incredible event that this was shaping up to be. So I don't think I've been part of a harder process at any point in time. I was there when the USDGC in 2016 got canceled, but not part of the core tournament staff, and it seemed like it was an immensely challenging decision for them. But my empathy level for Jonathan Poole and his team just went up about 10 clicks. That was really hard, and it was hard because this honestly is this version of this Ledgestone, the 2021 version, was the most significant event in Disc Golf Pro Tour history, other than probably the first event and Tour Championships of the past. And I would stand by that. I think I've thought about that. To be able to run this event at a level probably much higher than several majors I've been at, even including maybe some World Championships I've been at, is a testament to the event team and Nate's fervent desire to make this the biggest and best event. Sometimes it seems a little crazy to me, but at the same time, that's why this event is what it is. It's truly a momentous event every year, but I didn't really know the extent that this had been ratcheted up, even though we're in planning meetings for weeks on end. It wasn't until I got here and saw the course at Northwoods itself, the support from the community, and how much bigger and better than ever before this event was. I mean, this event is millions of dollars, the budget. This event donated $200,000 to charity, and I think that right there is in and of itself the main driver of why I'm saying this about the significance of the event. I don't know, it's easy to say that, it's harder to quantify it in people's minds, how much money that is and what a significant impact that has for the community, for St. Jude's, for the other benefiting charities, and for the sport. I think just even to say an event on the Disc Golf Pro Tour donated nearly $250,000 to charity, it just elevates the entire sport. And I think that's Nate's goal here. So when you plan for 6 months, you plan for a year, execute at a high level for 6 months, dedicate your life to making sure that this event happens the way it does, and then have it kind of in your grasp for an epic ending, basically everything, because as an event producer, that's what you want. You want that moment where everybody can cheer and you can really experience, the culmination of your efforts. To have that robbed from you and from the players is heartbreaking. And, yeah, I'll leave it there. So it was a hard decision.
Is this, I mean, we had 160 players in the field, one of the biggest MPO fields we've seen on the Pro Tour. This isn't an unprecedented thing that has happened. It's been, GBO in the past, USDGC. Is this maybe a tournament that might affect some change in, field size, in morning and afternoon rounds, is that this type of event?
Yeah, well, it was 167 players that actually teed off. And I think that going forward, we may institute, a third round cut. That said, with broadcast times, we're not teeing off any earlier. Like, as no sport does that. We would have just made it flow a little bit better. But if these guys were on hole 4 instead of hole 3, we're not going to plan to change the broadcast time. I think what the big change here would be is, working with the PDGA to reform the policy, because basically we executed the PDGA policy, which several times says under no circumstances will there be any exceptions to this policy. And it literally says that, in terms of their severe weather policy. This was, I think, formulated and, tweaked after the USDGC. And to be honest, that's, for good reason. It's for, a reflection of where the sport is in terms of the professional growth and the responsibilities that other people that are playing in the event have. The media teams, our staff, our media team, who went through a lot, all of our media partners, while there's a lot of people who want to maybe come back on Monday and finish the round or even do a playoff, that policy is so explicit that it really boxes any tournament director in, whether it's a pro tour or a world championship or a major, to just follow the policy. And, we honestly did, think about trying to ask for a waiver or an exception. And in the end of the day, the policy is just really explicit that, when the final day ends, that's the end of golf. Talking to these guys, I think, ideally, if the policy was different, they would have loved to play off. If people were prepared, if our staff knew that it was a potential, if Nate's staff knew there was a potential for a Monday playoff or a finish, their competitors, of course, they would have wanted to play off. But with everyone knowing this policy and us seeing it executed through the years, there's no wiggle room here, and everybody's understanding that. So while the fans at home may have a hard time with that, on the ground, it really becomes an unfair thing and an unprofessional thing to flout a policy that's so explicit. So,
yeah, and again, appreciate all the hard work and going back and forth. It was just an extremely hectic evening. Just one more chance to thank anyone you want. Shout outs. We're coming to the end of Ledgestone, but we've still got a handful of tournaments left in the year.
Yeah, I would start by thanking, our team. This is the third Elite Series event in 3 weeks. We're going to a fourth Elite Series event in 4 weeks. Every event is really extremely meaningful for the teams that put it on. It's extremely meaningful for us, but we have to do it, every single week. So I'd shout out to our team, the media team, the operations team, the control room, who's sitting there for hours just waiting to figure out what's going on. Obviously, I spoke about Nate and his event team, but it truly is, for people at home that don't know, it's a different level, and it's a major level. This is like what happens at the USDGC. This is what happens at maybe a major that's planning for a year and a half, but they do it year after year. Just want to thank the players for understanding, and following our safety guidelines. And I guess the last person, other than our team, I'll shout out specifically is Seth Munsey. He's our safety director, and it's never a fun position for him to be in when he's, making calls. But, to have his strength and his will to just make the right call. We've had to do it several weeks now in the last month, and he's always dialed in to like, what is the safest thing? What is our policy? How do we follow it? And I think it would be a lot harder for me without Seth. So I just want to say a quick shout out to Seth.
Alrighty, that's about all we have for this one. Thanks, Jeff, again for your time.